Hi again then guys, and welcome to, of course, another look down memory lane to Test Drive Unlimited 1, where we're looking at some of the cars that I managed to salvage from my DLC way back about a decade ago, and this is actually, spoiler alert, one of the fastest DLC cars that were ever added to the game. Now of course my favourite DLC car also comes from this manufacturer, Cadillac, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get that car back for whatever reason, whereas this one I could. It is of course the Cadillac Cien. Cien means 100, I believe in Spanish if I recall correctly, and it was basically Cadillac's birthday present to itself, of course alongside the 16. What a pair of cars, incidentally, an ultimate luxury car and essentially an ultimate supercar. Now, of course, the North Star engines have something of a reputation in a production sense, but as far as this one went, of course, it was concept only. They are very, very generous with the specs that they give this car in the game. In real life, it was probably around a 220 mile an hour car, you could postulate, maybe about 3.5 seconds to 60 or so, given the specs that it actually had. It's a 7.5 litre naturally aspirated North Star V12, essentially America's answer to the Zonda engine, as far as I'm concerned, and the power was a very respectable 750. So in other words, were this a production vehicle, it would have been the most powerful naturally aspirated car on the market, because of course this came out way before the more powerful recent Ferraris, way before the Aston 177, etc., and that would have been pretty cool for America to have the most powerful, naturally aspirated supercar. And of course, one of the reasons why that could have happened is because TVR never produced the Speed 12. Otherwise, that car, I believe, would pretty much still have the record to this day. However, as I said, they are very, very generous with those performance figures in particular, because this thing is literally a Koenigsegg tier machine. 2.9 seconds to 60, which, yeah, that's fair enough, it sounds pretty good. Certainly not the quickest thing in the game, but it is quick. The top speed, though, is crazy. 248 miles an hour is insanely quick, and despite having around 100 horsepower less than the Chrysler ME412, which of course itself is a fantastic car, and is, I believe, the fastest standard car in the game, non-DLC, and of course a very popular one as well, this is as fast as that, and that's crazy. Now, as far as the category, of course you'd assume it's an A-class car, and it is, and it's not like you can buy it anymore unless you had the DLC anyway, but incidentally the price tag was a pretty good 750 grand. That's actually very impressive, and the reason why I say that is because that's only about 200 grand more than the Saleen S7, but this has about a 20 mile an hour advantage for top-end speed, and crucially, you have to unlock the Chrysler, so you can attain this car much more easily. And incidentally, as you can kind of see from the mileage at the bottom of the screen, I drive this car a lot, and the reason for that is because it's actually, in my opinion, the best car for earning money in this game, because there's a particular speed event around the centre of the map where you've got to reach 180 miles an hour in heavy traffic. And all you need to do in this car is turn around, drive the opposite way, and it takes literally like 16 seconds to do about 180 miles an hour, and you win like $70,000 a time, I think it is. So literally crazy money. And although of course you could do that in another car, a Saleen or a Zonda are also perfectly capable of doing so, to me that just makes me like this one more, because I love the Cien, I love the design of the car. To me it really could have been America's answer to the Pagani Zonda, and I wish it had been produced. In fact, America had a ton of cool concept cars at this time that didn't get produced, the Chrysler, both of the Cadillacs, others too, but this particular one is definitely one of the most useful DLC cars. A lot of them are just kind of fun, you know, the free Lexus packs, some of the Audis, even some of the more, you know, random ones like the Audi A4 touring car or the Holden Effigy. As cool as they are, they feel to some degree like a novelty. Whereas a car like this, and also the B-Engineering Adonis, which of course I adore, and I already reviewed that one in this game a few weeks back now, these are both very useful cars. This one definitely even more useful though than the Adonis. The Adonis might be the best handling supercar in the game, so it certainly is better than this one, but the sheer straight line performance of this car more than makes up for that. This is an incredible car in Test Drive Unlimited, and I believe that overall this might actually be my personal favourite iteration of the Cadillac to be in any game. Because of course around this time there were a few different games that featured it. It was in Gran Turismo, of course, from Gran Turismo 4 all the way up to Gran Turismo 6. Very, very good car, very quick supercar, and it was also in Midnight Club, of all places, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. I don't recall if it was the standard or the remix, but it was in there anyway, and it was very, very good. But unfortunately, like many other concept supercars from the earlier 2000s, it kind of just dropped away, and you don't see it in that many games anymore, and I think that's a shame. Of course, I would love to have the Cadillac 16, even more so in more games, but still, of the two, I will freely admit that the Cien is a far more useful car. The Cadillac 16 is more the kind of car that I would love to own in real life. The Cadillac Cien, on the other hand, is more the kind of car that's really beneficial to own in a game. It's great in Midnight Club, it's great in this game, and it's great in Gran Turismo. So across the board, every game that it's featured in actually treats it with a lot of respect, and that's pretty cool to see. It's a similar boat to the Chrysler ME412, as I said, where in every game that appears in, it's pretty much the quickest thing around, if not one of the quickest. So overall, of course, for the vast majority of people who maybe started playing Test Drive Unlimited more recently, unfortunately, chances are you won't be able to get this car, but if you did download it back in the day as I did, I would strongly recommend trying to re-access that DLC. It wasn't actually that difficult to do, and of course there are tons of really cool cars in the DLC packs for this game, which are great to be able to bring back out and reminisce and, as I said, look down memory lane to appreciate them. For me, the Cien was always one of my favourite cars in the game, probably second only to the Adonis in terms of supercars in the DLC packs. So tell me down below, did you use this car back in the day? Are you a fan of it? Some people do not like the way it looks or the way it performs. So tell me down below, what are your feelings on the car? Do you wish it was in more modern games, for instance? Or are you perhaps more of a Chrysler ME412 kind of driver? I know a ton of people do love that car as well, and again, fantastic car, as I said. So overall, you can click here on screen to see all of my other Test Drive Unlimited 1 and 2 videos, and of course, stick around on the channel for more in future. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.